Preethi.
Hey Muskan, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Just a second. Let me check. We are live on YouTube.
Hey Muskan, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Just a second. Let me check. We are live on YouTube. Yeah. Okay. Hello everyone, and for all the viewers who are new to our channel, let me first introduce you to our platform. So Shevolve is a platform to empower women, to help them and guide them in their career journeys. And whenever they face difficulty in their career, especially when women take career break and then they wish to restart their career after that break, they face a lot of difficulties. So our industry experts are there who are going to help you out and guide you in the right direction. You can reach out to us at shevolve.in. And viewers, today we have Preethi Goswamy with us. She's engineering leader at Intuit, and she's also founder of Lean In Network. Thank you so much, Preethi, for joining. We are so glad to have you.
Thank you for having me here. I'm really happy to be here and share my journey. And I should also say that I'm having a little bad cold, so you would see a little bit of change in the way I'm speaking in terms of my work.
No issue. So, Preethi, could you please take us through your career journey?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as you actually spoke about my introduction, I thought I'll just say a little bit more about myself with my career journey. Right, today I'm a coach as well as an engineering leader. Now, how did I start my engineering leadership journey? Right, I still call myself as an accidental engineer because, like many of us, or during our space where we were like, making the career decision, I also wanted to be a doctor. But I think it was circumstances that, I ended up being on the engineering side. And honestly, till today, I've enjoyed and cherished this journey. Right. It is this journey has also taken me through find myself who I am, and I think that's the true sense of why I've enjoyed being a coach and engineering leader today. Um, just to start off, and I started my career at CGI, and I've worked at different organizations like Oracle, Informatica, and today at Intuit. All through my journey, I think the only thing that kept me inspired and stayed grounded is the goal that I had for myself, right? And that I wanted to always accomplish. uh, and I think uh, able always used to say that I'm a self-made person, but as I think you grow older, you realize that I think what I am today, it's not just that though my career journey or my life has been self-made, but I think if the number of people around me had made me successful, and with whom I have come along as well during this journey, my leaders, my friends, my family, who have been very supporting enough for where I am today. Right, and one of the important person who stands behind this career journey is my husband as well. Right. Once I started being on the engine, there was never a look back. Right. Okay. As I said, I broke the whole journey into small goals, and I do have as further set of goals that I'm planning to achieve. But I holded myself accountable for these goals, and I moved forward. And I definitely seeked help, and I had a lot of mentors and coaches who helped me through this journey, right? And I think that's very important in your career, be it a coach, be it an engineering leader, be it a doctor, be it anything that you want to be, right? It doesn't matter, right? It's ultimately is what you want to be as a person, and how you want to be, and how can you tie your values along with your career that you move in. I think that's made me successful in this career journey. There has been a lot of challenges, and I'm sure we'll speak about it as we go.
That's amazing and very inspiring as well. So, Preeti, what is that one thing that was holding you back in your career, and how did you manage to handle it?
Yeah, if you give me permission, I can talk about three things that played a role in my career.
Sure.
Right. I think, and one of the things that I believe it's very, very important for anybody is the inner work. Right. And what do I mean by inner work? There are three things that really, really helped me in, which was holding myself back. And, I learned to manage through it. One was the inner work. And, you know, I can confidently say that most of the times, right, we are all not even aware of what is truly holding us back, right? We might think that we are doing everything that is possible, we are, but sometimes it just slows us down. And, uh, the only way that, and it had been true with me as well for a very long period of my time in career, I thought I was like really slowing down, right? And the one of the important aspects of this is, that I started actually practicing mindfulness and self awareness. And I was coached while I was on this leadership path, while about both mindfulness and self awareness, right? And this helps you a lot to reflect over your past year, and helps you to plan ahead to see your blind spots. Right. And that's why I call this as a inner work. Most importantly, Muskan, in our culture, right, we have always been taught that you seek therapy or a coaching only when something is wrong. But I strongly believe that you should do these things even when it is on the surface or life seems fine, right? Understanding who you are and what you are is it's very essential psychologically for your success and, optimizing your potential. And I think that the self awareness is one of the major thing that was holding back, and the work of that was help. And then I call, as I said, as inner work. Even as a coach today, I focus on this inner work, on self-awareness, quite a lot of it as well, and including in my day-to-day life, right? The second thing that most of the time that hold me back was also, getting stuck in the comfortable zone. Right. Most of the time we get stuck in the comfortable zone because we are, afraid of failures, right? And that becomes very, very daunting, actually. I think for a very long period of time, I didn't realize these failures are the gift, right? And I think this is something that I always said. Instead of seeing them as fear, view them as an ultimate way to learn and grow, right? If it's okay to be nervous, but it is good always to take that leap. If you fall, you will always get up. And as a child, how many times we have fallen and how many times we have got up, right? But why do we afraid of doing it? I think, and the inner work that I spoke about, it helped me to get out of this comfort zone, right? And then one of the things that I did with this fear is I converted each of these fears to goals every year. And every year I pick a fear, and it makes you feel uncomfortable to work on these fears, but every year I pick a fear, and I work towards the goal. And something on the day-to-day life, which I call this lack of discipline of saying no, right? Again, we always think that when we say no, we are selfish. Okay, saying no means that you are having a great awareness and your priority. It helps you to manage your time, energy, relationship, a lot of things. And a lot of us, including me, believe saying no is one of the most fearful thing of being feeling of rejection, right? So I think the aspect of saying no, and one of the way I used to say no is, started prioritizing all that I can do and I cannot do, right? When you start prioritizing, you will get it. And it becomes easier to say no. If you're saying no, and if you give the reasons on why you're saying no, right, it kind of helps you to move forward. I think, and I always say this, and I've seen that benefiting. Take control on saying no and challenge yourself to say no. It takes practice. All of these are a lot of practice, and I think getting out of comfort zone, saying no, were my two big obstacles. But there are different obstacles each one of us face, and the main important way of I overcame this is working through the inner work, right? And that's basically your self-awareness.
Absolutely. These were some amazing points because I think getting out of the comfort zone is very important. And I feel as we grow old, we tend to, get comfortable in our own shell, and then we fear of getting out of it and try new things. But it is very, very important.
Correct. That's very true.
Okay, so what do you think? How is community building important? How important it is, and how it can influence or help in your career development?
Community building. I mean, no, I started building Lean. I think that's the community that I'm known for, or I built it. But I have built various other communities apart from Lean. I've also built communities for user experience group and all of that, right? And if I look at communities which is tied up with technology, non-technology, and I just remove that part of it, I feel building your own set of community. Forget about Lean and women in tech, yeah, forget about women in data or anything. But as a person, as an individual, you need to build your own community that you need to have it. And I think it the studies have been found, right? And this is true, right? As you know, as the face-to-face interaction goes, and physical and mental wellness and the life balance go, and as you grow in your career and in your life, there's a greatest impact of loneliness. And then especially when you grow as a leader, right, as you grow, and it's a well-known say that the path for the leadership is loneliness. But I think one of the way to utilize this path is while you grow in your leadership, while you go, and where you can take people along with you, and you will not feel that path loneliness at any point of time. Right, I think that's very critical, right? Community is does not just facilitate growth, right? They can actually be the most valuable thing, and it's a great source of honest feedback, right? I started building community in the intent of sharing my experience and learning, and which I do today also. But I soon realized that coming together in the community, whether physically or virtually, helped me to build my connection. And it kind of helped me just not to give back, but I learned a lot. And I built my thought leadership, I enhanced my leadership as skills as well, right? One of the best influences of the community you'll get is the motivation along with the people that who are there with you, right? It helps you to build relationship effectively. A lot of your hurdles and stuff that when you bring back to the community, there's a lot of brainstorming where people come in with their own thought process and they tell what's worked best for them, and you can use that as an empowerment for you to move forward, right? It helps a lot in your self-esteem and confidence, just not in your career development but also in your life as such, right? I think that's where I see the impact of building community that can influence your career development and your personal life, right? One of the things that I do is both I think in various social medias also is I do with something called as Preethi Anubhava Chakra. I share my experience and my failures. I think the more you share your failures, you will learn what you should not be doing, right? And it is okay to fail, right? I would say go ahead and fail, and the community that you build around will help you to move up and share your experience. It'll help other people to learn from your failures.
Exactly. So Preeti, how do you balance wearing multiple hats, like be it your full time or managing your community, and there's so much more. So how do you balance all that?
I think, Muskan, uh, there's no word called balance, right? And for me, it's the word passion, right? Another thing is called as dharma, means which what you want to do in right direction. I think these all are some of the reasons where, which helps me to wear multiple hats. If you're enjoying what you're doing, or if you're enjoying your way of being, right, wearing any number of hats doesn't matter, right? And today, I'm an engineering leader, community leader, founder of some many communities. I'm a wife at the same time, mother and sister, and many more. And I think all of us individually do wear multiple hats. And the most important thing, while you wear multiple hats is, as I said, the passion and the feel of the dharma, which is like two crawling. If you have that, right, the balance will automatically get filled. And today, one of the reasons why I'm able to wear these multiple hats is purely because I enjoy the way of being that I am today.
Great. So have you ever taken a risk in your career, and what was the outcome?
Um, I think when we hear the word risk, right, it is actually, considered, it's taken in a wrong way, right? And I take risk in a very positive sense, right? And in fact, Muskan, we take risks every day, right? It's not just, while you take risk while you move your career. We take risks every day while making decision, while you, especially when you're moving up the ladder, right? You take risk because when you're making decision, you need to consider your people, you need to consider your stakeholders, you need to consider your team, you need to consider your peers. There's multiple factors that comes in when you make this decision, and this decision itself could be risk taking, right? So if you cannot make those decisions, and if you cannot take those calculative risks that you want to take, then you are definitely not going to improve your current situation wherever you are, right? And as I want to really reiterate, risk taking always doesn't mean when you change your career, right? Risk taking happens every day. Risk taking only increases your chance of improving your current situation, right? And it's definitely scary, right? The moment you hear risk, oh, this is not, this is risky, I don't want to do, what would I do if I fail, right? I think it's okay, right? Don't consider your risk as your failures. Consider your risk as an opportunity. As I said, when you take risk, you're really taking a lot of people along with you, your team, your stakeholders, your leadership. A lot of people come along while you take this risk, right? And you're enabling to build self-confidence not only in your team, your leadership, and people on your statement. So I think when it comes, and that's what I would say about risk, right? Actually, risk actually compounds the opportunity, and that's why I said don't consider risk as as one of the factors that could cause failures. Risk compounds opportunity, and it's a good thing. Now, when it comes to outcome, and I'll give you one more example of risk as well. But before that, I think when it comes to outcome, again, I'll go back to the word that dharma that I was speaking about. Do your right thing, right? And don't get attached to the outcome. The moment you get attached to the outcome, you won't take the risk, right? And it will not open an opportunity. I think we all know what Krishna said, right? Don't look at the fruits, do your action. And I think that's what I generally, and this is what I have believed in my life, right? As I said, I was somebody who wanted to be a doctor, and circumstances were very difficult, and I had to take software engineering role as such, right? And it was a risk for me, right? And it was not a risk in the sense, it was against something, right? And it's a risk, but I did take calculated risk, that is it. And as I was saying, you take risk every day in your life. It is not while you move your career, right? It's important to understand that taking risk doesn't mean that you have to be reckless. I think this is very, very important. You will have to do your research before you take any kind of risk. Lay the land before making any move, right? For example, if you want to reach to the next level in your career, okay, it is always wise to have this conversation with your supervisor or your manager or your leaders to see what are the options are there in front of you before you can look outside the company, right? I think that's also one kind of a risk, right? And when the moment you do this, right, what you see is the opportunities your supervisor or your leader will open up for you, okay? And that could be compounding, right? And you would automatically have an influencer that would be playing in this role, and you will not be doing this all by yourself. You will have a partner who will be doing that role along with you while you want to move that, when you want to move your needle in your career, right? It doesn't mean that I'm saying you get stuck in a job because, trying outsiders. I mean, but lay down all your options, right? See what works for you, and what works inside, what works outside, and what's your career goal. And I think I told at the very beginning, I had career goals in mind, right? And I didn't have like a 10-year goal. I had small goals that I moved, and I improvised on that goal. And at that time I didn't know what was goal, but I did have the thought process. Today I do have quite a very structured way of how I look at these goals, right? And when you put those goals, consider the risk factor as your opportunity, right? Taking risk can just propel your career to the next level, right? And I believe in calling or the dharma, and you will find your calling that you will love, right? And you will find it, and but that has to be calculated, right? While you take any risk, don't burn the bridges. Make sure you always have something to fall back on, and make sure, and that's why I said the risks has to be calculated. The risks has to take control of these risks, right? I mean, it's not about being reckless. I think I would say I've taken multiple risks. I do that every day as I'm speaking with you, right? And one of the things that I don't worry is about the outcome. If you do the right thing will happen.
Absolutely. Risk taking is like we should not take it in a negative way. And just as you said that calculative risk are important. You calculate, have that clarity in your mind.
Yeah.
So Preeti, what do you think? How to build your own brand? What advice would you like to give someone?
uh, I think most importantly, before you build your brand, or be it in being an entrepreneur, being your personal brand, or you build your business brand, or any brand for that matter, right? And just yourself, right? One of the most important thing that you need to identify is who you are, right? Most of the time we don't know who we are, right? And I think that's where I this is where both in my coaching and in my own life I focus on something called as inner work, right? And you need to know, and you should be aware about your identity, right? The moment you know what you are and who you are, you will be able to focus on the goal that you want to build on your brand, right? When it comes to a personal branding, it could be anything. It could be the brand that you want to identify, and as soon as you identify what you want to build, right, I would say have focus. I think this is the framework that I have personally used, right? Identify who you are, have a focus, and most importantly, Muskan, you have to be genuine to yourself, right? More than anybody else, more than anybody else. I think you have to be genuine for it. And do not hesitate to share your failures. I think there is a lot of learning in these failures, not only for yourself, right, for others. And always tell your story, right? Don't build a story, tell your story, tell what is your fact, right? And while you're building brand, sometimes there is an opportunity, there is the path to failures, okay? Be ready to fail, take those risks, be ready to fail, and don't consider failure as a stopper, right? Consider failure as a growth, right? Failures are always an opportunity to grow. And the moment you identify who you are, what's your focus, and be very regular on what you want to do for yourself, right? I think that helps you to build a brand.
Any advice you would like to give to someone who's thinking of, starting their own business?
Um, I think that's a great question. And, one of the things that while I'm mentoring startups or, mentoring entrepreneurs, one of the things that, and even for myself and many women leaders or uh, many other leaders that I say every time, I think is the best advice that I would give is learn new things every day. There is a multiple opportunity you can learn from your leaders, you can learn from people around you, you can, and chalk out like even half an hour to learn new things for yourself. I think learn new things every day. One of the biggest mistakes that we all do is to be a perfect, and perfectionism is an enemy of good. And from when I've heard this quote, I'm like stuck to this quote, and it means a lot. And I think we make progress every day. And I think for any entrepreneur, business, and leader, and anybody as a person, I think make a progress every day. Don't look at being perfect. I will give a different example, right? And I think this is what I say, right? Look at the spaces, not the tree. Especially, if you are on the top of the mountain, it can be very daunting if you have to come down, right? When you're top of the mountain, you don't look at the trees, right? Once you start looking at the trees, right, you will be tripping down. You will not be seeing your path, right? What is important is to see the space between the trees. And that's why I say see the spaces, not the trees, right? This sort of mindset, while you see the spaces, you will see opportunities, not just obstacles, right? And it is very important, while you see the spaces, you can start the next chapter of your life, both personally and professionally. So I think one of the advices that I would say is just see the spaces to find your path. Don't look at the trees.
We often focus on the obstacles first, but this is an amazing point, and I think a lot of us would relate to it that we should focus on the spaces, just as you mentioned. So, Preeti, now we'll have a rapid fire round. And my first question to you is what's your favorite part of your job?
I think my favorite part of my job as an engineering leader, or as a coach, right? I think it's making things happen. Simple, right? It becomes and also to empower and developing people. I think this gives me a true joy, and I really enjoy this part of my job.
Okay, what is one of the biggest challenges you have faced till date?
One of the biggest challenges that I've faced is myself. Most of the time, we look at the challenges outside. And I think when we have challenges, we need to look inside, and you'll find that, you standing in front of you versus anybody else. I think the biggest challenge for me that I've always faced is myself.
Okay, name any women leader who inspires you.
Um, I think, I mean, there are many women leaders, right? But I think one every day that I get up and say one thing for myself. If I do this, what will my mom say? Right. And I lost my mom at a very young age, but she had inspired me in many, many ways. She was a working woman, and she taught me how to be resilient, right? And 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 she did face a lot of adversities, and she overcame them, and she made things happen for herself and for her family, and the people around her. I think that inspired me. And one of the things that she always said is, is um, she said because she got this from her father, because they are, I mean, it was mostly the teachers' background, or most of them were teachers. My father, my grandmother, I mean, my grandmother, not my father, sorry, my grandfather and grandmother, where my mom learned. Knowledge is, you gain knowledge every day. It's learn every day a new thing, but share the knowledge as much as possible, right? And you will grow from it. And being a community leader, being an engineering leader, or sharing my experience, I've always learned to grow out of it, right? And as I said, she has been one of my inspiration for me to move forward and be what I am today.
Okay, what has been your biggest achievement this year?
As I said, I think one of the biggest achievement that I always find, I mean, for many years, I think most of the time I didn't believe work-life integration, work-life balance. I always thought it was work-life integration. Now I don't believe work-life integration and work-life balance. And because both of them comes in between your accomplishment. I think what becomes the best accomplishment is your self-discovery, self-discipline that you can bring in yourself, right? That basically impacts your work and your personal life. And I feel that's my biggest accomplishment, for the way of me being a leader, the way of me being a person, and the way of me being a wife, mother, or whatever it is, right? And the true happiness is of the way you are being. And I think that is an important accomplishment versus saying I'm the founder of this, I'm an engineering leader of anything else, right? I believe identifying that space, which is very critical, and we fail to identify that space. I think that I call that as an accomplishment. And from the past few years, finding the space has made me grow much better person from what I was yesterday.
That's amazing, and I am sure all the viewers are going to take a lot of takeaways and good points from this session we had. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. It was amazing talking to you.
Thank you, Muskan, for having me here, and thanks for Shevolve to allowing me to share my journey with all of you. And I hope people can learn from this, and looking forward for your collaboration.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.